Thank you very much. In founding PharmaKrysto, we put a company together with the vision of saving kidneys and preventing pain in people with a condition known as cystinuria. We want to develop simple, oral, effective treatments that could be used by children as well as adults, as this is both a pediatric and an adult condition. And it's an orphan condition, so we wanted to make use of all the regulatory advantages that come to a company developing in that area. We recognise that although this is an orphan condition, we do need to develop robust data to get maximal market access and a price that gives an optimal return to our investors. So cystinuria is a genetic amino acid pump defect disorder. It causes high concentrations of amino acids in the kidneys. And one of these amino acids in particular, cysteine, has a very low crystallization point. These crystals block the flow of urine, leading to infection and ultimately kidney damage. It causes severe pain and often surgery to remove these very large crystal stones. We've had discussions with clinicians in Europe, in the US, and also with patient groups, establishing that there's a real interest for new treatments for this condition. The kidney stones block the flow of urine, leading to repeated infection, and both the treatments currently used for cystinuria can also damage the kidneys. So if you're to look at a group of patients within a clinic treating this condition, about 70% of patients would have some form of permanent kidney damage, and about 5% of people with cystinuria go on to end-stage renal disease and a need for dialysis. There are many studies out there now showing that patients with this condition have a permanent and very decreased quality of life because of the treatment and because of the pain and the constant hospital visits. Current treatments start with something very simple and very cheap, and that's drinking lots of water. Unfortunately, you need to drink an additional 4 to 5 litres of water a day to get to the point of solubility where you're no longer forming crystal stones. That's really hard to achieve if you're a taxi driver or a teacher, and children, it's really hard to get them to continue to drink water when they're not feeling thirsty. The next line of therapy is alkalizing the urine through potassium bicarbonate or citrate. This has bloating effects in the stomach, unpleasant taste, and is not effective in all patients. And finally, we move on to the only approved medical therapy, which is a penicillamine. These are 30-year-old disease-modifying agents originally used in rheumatoid arthritis. Unfortunately, they have a high degree of side effects, skin diseases, bone marrow dyscrasias, and kidney damage. And they're not effective in all patients either. So that now brings us on to our novel treatment. So our lead compound, PK10, is what we call a cysteine imposter. It has a molecular structure similar to the amino acid cysteine, so it binds to the growth surfaces of the microcrystals in the kidney collecting duct, but prevents other molecules of cysteine attaching to that crystal and growing. So the crystals remain at a microscopic scale and are passed without any pain and without any symptoms in the urine. On the bottom left-hand side there, you'll see microscopy of a patient's urine with cysteine, showing the very typical regular hexagonal crystals. We've done experiments in genetically modified mice that have the same genetic alteration as people with cystinuria. On the left-hand side, you see a group of mice that have been treated daily with water, and the white dots that you'll see are cysteine stones taken from the collecting ducts and the bladders of those mice. You see all of them have developed cysteine stones. On the right-hand side, from the same littermates, is a group of animals that have been treated once a day with an oral dose of PK10, our lead molecule. All but one of those animals was completely cleared of developing the cysteine stones. We've also dosed for up to 50 times the dose that was used in this experiment, with no deaths and no toxicities in those animals, giving us reassurance that we could look at higher doses if necessary. We've repeated this experiment 3 times with very repeatable effects on reduction of stone formation of up to at least 3 times reduction in stone formation in the animal model. And as I said, we can look at higher doses in the animal model to see precisely where the limit is on inhibiting crystal formation in cystinuria. So in summary, we believe that we've got a molecule that could be used once or twice a day. We've looked at scaling up the quantity of PK10 that was given in the mice, and this would be equivalent to a once-a-day single tablet in humans. So with effective therapy, we'd prevent kidney damage and restore quality of life in people with cystinuria. In terms of the commercial opportunity, cystinuria that is stone forming is frequent around 1 in 10,000 people, and that's universal around the world. We've got commercial advantages through this being a orphan designated product, and it equates to around 40,000 people that are recurrent stone formers in the US and about 35,000 in the EU. If we look at the potential for sales, using a rather modest 20% market penetration rate, that equates to around $450 million peak sales in the major markets of the US, Europe, and Japan. So we believe there's a significant commercial opportunity here, despite it being an orphan product. The team involved in founding PharmaKrysto have all worked in kidney diseases before. We've taken a product from academic bench all the way through to successful completion of pivotal studies in the US and in Europe. And we've had products approved both in Europe and in the US in the kidney space before. We've also got commercial experience of launching in the orphan and rare disease area. So what have we already achieved? We have patents issued on our family of molecules that go out to 2036. We've got orphan designation in Europe. We have orphan designation in the US. And we've completed both European scientific advice and face-to-face meetings with FDA as part of our pre-IND discussions. We've got basic market research which supports our pricing and market penetration assumptions. And we've completed manufacturing feasibility, showing that they would have low cost of goods and no red flags raised as regards initial animal safety screening. So through discussions with European and US regulators, we know precisely what needs to be done in terms of our pre-IND or IND enabling preclinical program, and then moving on to our phase 1 study. Our phase 1 study will be rather different, and this is primarily going to be involved patients, not healthy volunteers. There are some intellectual property advantages around doing our phase 1 in patients, and we also could develop a readout for some early proof of concept at the end of phase 1. We've then established with FDA that we'll need a single randomized pivotal study to get us to approvability. We'll run that in children as well as adults, leading to approval at the same time in adults and pediatric populations. So currently we're looking to raise just over 16 million euros to get us through to the first value-added milestone of completing phase 1 study in patients. We then know that we'll need approximately 20 million euros to complete our pivotal randomized phase 2 study in Europe and in the US to lead us to full approval at the end of approximately 6 years from initial funding. So just to summarize, we're developing PK10 to treat an orphan condition of cystinuria. We want to transform the lives of people with this condition, improve their quality of life, save kidneys and prevent pain. There are poor treatment options currently for cystinuria, and there's a clear commercial opportunity for better treatments in this area. We've got a lead molecule that's patent protected. We've got proof of concept in animals with the same condition as in humans. We've got a clear development plan now, having got scientific advice and pre-IND discussion with FDA. We're projecting peak sales of around $450 million in the major markets, and we're offering equity to raise just over 16 million euros to get us to the first value-added milestone of completing end of phase 1. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to take any questions. If anyone wants to contact me, then my contact details are available in the booklet.